basically what you have to do is push at the end. Insert your shock. And it holds it very tight. Hey guys, Tank here. Today I wanted to build some shocks, but I'm always tired of trying to find a place to lean my shocks while you're filling them, or just to let them sit and while you're trying to get the oil out. So sometimes you got to try something to lean it on, but this is what happens. Sometimes it falls. Another trick is to put it into a tire and into two tires, and then it actually stays there. But sometimes your shocks are small, so there's a whole bunch of different ways. You can buy a rack that you can put your rig on, or actually they have the slots where you can put that, but those are expensive. Today I'm going to show you how to build a shock mount rack with things you might have laying around. So first thing, you need something to mount. I'm using an old can, an old Tamiya can. And I'm going to be using 4 of these guys. And I'm going to be using the old trusty goop. So you can use the goop. Some people call it shoe goo. Anyone you can use. Doesn't matter as long as it's goop or a good glue. So let me mount this camera, this phone, onto my trusty mount. And I'll be right back. Okay, now that the phone is back up on its mount and I have my 2 hands, I can work a little bit better. So I saw some pictures a while back of this shock mount, and it was pretty cool. They used a 2x2 piece of wood on the bottom also to hold the plate, and then a 2x2 or 1 inch by 1 inch, and then they put these all the way around to actually hold your shock, because this will hold the shock. So before you put the spring, this will actually hold it. You can hold it a little higher, doesn't matter, that it's just going to hold your shock. So let me show you what I'm thinking of doing with this thing. So I need something to pry it up. Need some shoe glue. No, I am not gonna make you wait till the shoe glue actually dries. So I'm putting a big dap on this. And I'm gonna stick that on there. Make sure it's nice and straight with the top. So I'm just making sure that this lines up straight. And the reason I'm putting this up here is just so that the can is actually straight with this. And now it's a waiting game. So while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I realized I got a better idea to make this go faster. Tie wraps. I love tie wraps. If you don't have tie wraps, you'll have to wait for the glue to dry. Let me put this down again. So basically, what I'm thinking of doing is drilling a hole here and on the bottom and putting a tie wrap. How you select your hole, not to make it too big, is you take a bit and you just put your tie wrap right on top of it, and your drill should stick out just a little bit on top of each other. So let me drill some holes. Now this one's almost dry already, but this is going to make things faster. Trusty drill. I'm going to take it off the paint. There's still a little bit in it. That's what's fun about this. You don't have to wait. So basically, doing the hole. And it still wasn't dry. I don't care. There we go. Now the tricky part on here is that this paint can has this, but it wasn't too hard to put it in there. So just want to make sure it doesn't fall off. My glue's still not dry, and it's been about 10 minutes now. So trying to do this in front of the camera sometimes is a little tricky. So this is just to make it go a little faster, but will also make sure it's nice and secure. Now anytime you're cutting tie wraps, always use a flush cutter. What that means is that when you cut this, it becomes very flush and you can't scratch yourself on it. So let me do 4 more holes. Now when you put these, you got to put it at a different angle, which means if you got one pointing down, the other one's going to be pointing up. Now let's do the rest. It's way faster this way. Waiting for glue to dry is like waiting paint to dry. Now you could get away of just putting 2 tie wraps, but I like the glue. Just makes it more solid. There we go. Got the tie wraps. Now we just have to wait for the paint to dry, and we have instant shock tower. So basically what you have to do is push at the end, insert your shock, and it holds it very tight. If you like this, this is my poor man's shock tower. And what's really neat about this is if you don't like this color, you can pick any color you want. And the bottle is nicely decorated. And you can actually attach your shocks there in that small hole or in the bigger hole also. And once it's actually dry, it will not move anymore. Right now it's moving a little bit, but once it's dry, it's gonna stay there. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Later.